Hey everyone, my name is Bethany Brand, and this is my case study 2 for SPCE 638. So the client information, the client is 3, she's a female, and she's diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. The behavior of concern is tantrum. And the operational definition for that behavior is any instance of a client flopping to the floor and or making vocalizations above a normal speaking level for more than 5 seconds with or without tears. An example of this behavior would be the client flopping to the ground and crying with tears for more than 30 seconds. A non-example will be the client singing at a loud level for 2 minutes or laying on the floor whenever she's tired. The operant extinction, so when the client would engage in tantrum behavior, this would often consist of the client flopping to the floor while crying. When this did not gain the attention that she was desiring, she would get stuck by putting her foot inside of a toy or by getting under a chair, etc., just anything like that. I put quotation marks around the word stuck because she was not really stuck. She would just pick a toy up and put it on her foot or lay underneath a chair. She was completely capable of getting herself out, but she was trying to make us think she was stuck. When we would go over to the client to help her by getting her unstuck, this was reinforcing to the client because she would then receive the attention that she was desiring by us helping her. Even if we didn't talk to her or engage, make eye contact or anything like that, she was still getting somewhat of the attention she desired. We continued to ignore the behavior until the client was no longer engaging in the tantrum behavior, even if she was getting stuck. By removing this reinforcement, we did see a decrease in the behavior. So the assessment we used was a functional behavior assessment. This was done by directly observing the client, interviewing with the parents, and completing ABC data for about 2 weeks. Socially mediated behavior was determined to be the function because the function was to gain attention. When the therapist would give attention to another peer, the client would immediately start crying and get stuck in order to gain our attention. It got to the point where a peer would even just walk in the room and the behavior began, where she did not want us to give any attention to anyone but her. The DRA procedure, so when the client is calm and not engaging in a behavior, the client was reinforced by verbal praise such as, "I love how you're playing so quietly," or "good job having a calm body," or anything in that nature. Since we are no longer helping her get unstuck, we have seen that she gets herself out of these situations herself, like I mentioned before. So we do not acknowledge her at all until she is calm and not engaging in the tantrum behavior. Stimulus control. So the client often engages in the behavior when she goes from receiving the therapist's full attention to having to share it with a peer. So like I mentioned earlier, it's not even really her receiving our full attention, because like I said, I could be putting in data and she can be sitting here playing, but if a peer walks in the room, she's going to freak out if I turn and be like, "Hey, so-and-so." When providing her with attention, we saw an increase in the frequency of behavior now that we ignore. So when she would get stuck, we would provide her with attention. We saw a frequency, and that's how we determine this, because my peer used to be able to walk into the room. It used to just be when we spoke to the peer, but now if the peer walks into the room, or when a peer would walk into the room, the frequency like went up, like it was all the time. Now that we ignore the behavior, we have seen an increase in the duration of the tantrum behavior, but the frequency of the behavior has decreased. This is because she's going to cry and flop to the floor and have that tantrum behavior without getting stuck in the beginning. And once she is not receiving our attention, then she's going to go find a toy, find a chair, whatever she can to get stuck. So the duration has gone up, the tantrums lasting longer because we're not giving her any attention, but the frequency has gone down since implementing this. And that is my case study too. Thank you all for watching.